Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. Thank you for joining me tonight. My name is Tembi Tobela. I'm a mother, a wife. I'm a speaker, a mentor, and a coach. And recently, I have been nominated in the category of Medium Entrepreneur of the Year award by the Sunrise Women Awards, which seeks to honor and celebrate women for the difference that they make in their communities. I'm very humbled by this nomination. And for tonight, I'm going to be joined by other guests whom I respect and love very much. One of the guests that is ready and whom is here already is Nompilo Yeyeye. Hi, Nompilo, are you there? Hi, Nompilo.
Good evening. Good evening. I'm here.
Great, great. Yes, so Nompilo will be joining us to share into our discussion today. And I didn't want to waste any time and go into the bio. I want her to introduce herself nicely. In consideration of the time, Nompilo just highlight the just sum it up the best way you know how, so that just in the interest of time. Hence, I wanted to leave that up to you.
Oh, okay. I'm Nompilo Kumete. I'm the CEO of Women in Business South Africa. I also work in corporate as an accountant. I head the finance and procurement at Prela 2000. It's a textile industry. I'm a mom of two boys. I'm married. We celebrated our 10 years anniversary two weeks ago. So that's
Oh,
me in a nutshell.
congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations. We love and seeing it grow. So
Thank you so
welcome,
much.
Nompilo. Welcome, and thank you for joining me. Nompilo and I met, we shared a coach together. And I came across Nompilo and I was moved by, she's a trailblazer, I was, we were bound to cross paths. So yeah, when I learned of her a bit, I reached out and I was like, okay, I like what you're doing, and let's get together and see what we can do. So yeah, I love the work that you do, Nompilo. Thank you for being an inspiration to every other woman out there with the way that you lead, your leadership skills, and all of that. So I'm glad that I got to share you tonight with the rest of the audience. I hope that they can take some nuggets from out of our conversations and grow from it.
Thank you so much.
Sure. I think we're still waiting for another guest of ours. And as soon as she comes on, we will then introduce her accordingly. But for now, I think we're just gonna shoot straight, and as and when our guests join, we'll introduce them and take on the conversation from where it already is. So so the public, everyone that's joined us, hello, and yeah, welcome. Thank you so much for taking the time out to spend the evening with us. The purpose of us meeting tonight comes from having learned very early in my career and business life that the importance of building a village of like-minded women, okay? And really just being intentional about the community you want in that village. And I mean, that could be a circle of women you look up to. It could be your advisory board. It could be your mentor, could be your coach. But you just have to be intentional about the community that you want in your village, which you'll have to build yourself. And you need to also understand that not everyone not everyone is going to move to the direction that you are moving to, because everyone's got their own lives. And so not everyone's going to move to your direction. And it's also not your job really to explain your next move of how you are moving. So with the purpose of today, I will be unpacking with the rest of our guests, few things like being in harmony with our mental state, because that impacts us a lot. We deal with a lot. You could be somebody in business. You could be somebody who's chasing up or going up the corporate ladder and having a side hustle as well at the same time, maybe raising a family as well, like the rest of us. So sorry, I'm just interrupted by one of our guests trying to call me. So if you can just give me a moment, please. I will like her to obviously join us. So give me a moment, please. I apologize.
Hi, so
oh, okay. I have. I've just sent it on your inbox, and yeah, it's there as well. Okay. All right. Oh, okay. No problem. Okay. See you just now. Cool. Bye. I'm back. Sorry. I apologize for that interruption. We may continue. Kana, where were we? So, yeah, really what we're just going to do is to also unpack work, home, and life balance, okay? Because we don't want to leave anyone behind. And with that said, that leads us to our conversation today, the reason why we are meeting and having this conversation. And also pointer number 3, which is the most important for me, is a discussion on welcoming failure through the door of lessons. Okay, so me and the guests will be unpacking that, and we will be sharing. And you are more than welcome to also share. You also welcome to ask questions. We are here to build. It's not just my conversation with the guests. It's also your conversation, which you can engage with us on the chat box. All right, and while we wait, our other guest will be joining us shortly. I'm not sure if she's here yet. Noma, are you on? Hey, Noma, are you on? All right. So while we wait, Nompilo. Hey, Nompilo.
Can you see me now?
Yes, I can. So while we wait, our other guest will be joining us shortly. And while we wait, I just thought maybe we can just start on the conversation, about welcoming failure through the door of lessons. Maybe you can just share with the audience, Nompilo, as to, maybe strategies that have worked for you, or things that you've picked up. You've got you occupy positions where you lead few individuals whom are women, and there could be some lessons that you've picked up out of that you can share with us, impart that kind of knowledge, which we will greatly appreciate. I think we can proceed with that.
Oh, thank you so much, Tembi. There's a book that my career coach actually introduced me to. It talks about the 4 agreements,
Sure.
and it's really helped me. It's a book. It's 4 Agreements by Miguel. It speaks about being impeccable with your word, speaking what is true.
Oh, yes.
Yes, because sometimes as women, and avoid gossip.
Oh,
Because
yes,
sometimes as
please.
women, we like gossiping for no reason.
Yep.
And it also, it also emphasizes this need for clarity, that if you're not too sure what the other person is saying, rather get clarity from them.
Of course.
And
Of course.
another law that it speaks about is the importance of always doing your best, because if you do your best, then no one else can blame you.
I mean, that is the best. I like the last part a lot, because when you know you've given it your all, there was nothing left for you to give. Therefore, whatever comes, and you can just take it with you and move on and continue, because you've given it your all. So I like that point a lot. Yes, continue, Nompilo. Nompilo.
Sorry, Tembi. So those are the lessons that I've learned on my journey. That it's important to be true to yourself and be true to the people around you, because that will help you. If you lie on the journey, then you'll end up saying things that you didn't mean to say, and it will get back at you.
Oh, definitely.
So being truthful. There's another book that I really love that my therapist recommended. It's a book on boundaries,
Oh,
because
wow. Wow.
I believe that as women, sometimes, even as males, sometimes we don't have
Boundaries.
my camera is actually on
Is it we
my
can
side.
see you? We can
It
see
says
you.
everyone can see and hear you.
That's strange.
It's really strange.
Okay, are you sorting that out while we wait? Hey, Nompilo.
Actually log out and hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, perhaps it's a reception. I'm not sure what's going on, but perhaps we're not done. So perhaps while you sort out and check the camera, just remain with us. I'll be welcoming Nomazibulo, so that that allows you some time, hey,
Okay,
to
thank you
check
so
into the
much.
camera thing. Yes, and then
I'll
we'll
sort
come
myself
back
out
to our
shortly.
conversation.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Okay, everybody. I understand that Nomazibulo Changa just joined us. Nomazibulo Changa is one of our guests, and she is joining us into the conversation to share, and very excited about it. Hey, Noma, welcome.
Good evening to everyone. Thank you so much for having me in this powerful platform, Tembi. And I must say that I'm so proud of you to have taken this step to actually go towards your dream and actually, unraveling what God has bestowed upon you. So thank you so much for this platform, and I hope that I will make some impact.
No, definitely. Thank you so kindly. Noma, I didn't want to go into the full introduction. I want you to introduce yourself, considering the time. You'll just sum it up, to fit us with the time. But briefly, I just want to introduce you from my perspective, that Noma is, so I met Noma, when was it? Last year sometime, because actually I've taken time off social media for years and years. And last year I decided to just play around and visit there. And I came across a post of one of the events that Noma was doing, and it just captured me. And I actually wanted to go and attend one of her events in PE. And okay, that didn't happen, but I started following her, and I liked the content, and I was really inspired by this individual. And fast forward to very early this year, we bumped into each other at what was it? Amanda Tambuza Women in Leadership Retreat in Botswana. And honestly, it was a coincidence. We didn't plan it. We didn't know each other then. And yeah, we met there, and we just got along so well. And I felt that, you know what, the rest is actually history. But we are here today, and Noma is a wonderful person. She is that person that you don't just meet Noma and transformation doesn't happen in your life. I must say that. So, and don't rush also to meet Noma. I'm trying to put away my phone because it doesn't stop ringing. And don't rush to meet Noma because you will meet Noma at the right time. When the time is right, people will get to experience you. And she's become a very close friend and a sister, which I love and respect. So please, it gives me a great honor that she's joined us today as one of my very first live webinars. And yes, Noma, I welcome you. As you know, on our pointers of what we've discussed, of what we will be discussing, we are on that, but I want to go back to Nompilo is one of our guests as well, who has joined us. So she was still taking us through on the point of welcoming failures through the door of lessons. So right after her, then you will come on. I wanted to briefly just introduce you. And I think then we will continue and go to her to finish for her to finish off. But please, we will not be doing justice if we don't give you an opportunity to introduce yourself the best way you know how.
Oh wow! Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction. And this is the thing about mummies. This is the thing about mummies. I mean, it's struggling.
Say hi. Are you fine? Okay. See you later. Okay. Can Mama finish, please? Thanks. Anyway, yes.
That's being a mommy. I mean, if you don't have those occurrences, around your life, then it
I'm telling you.
So
I'm telling you, our friends.
Yes. So my name is Nomazibulo Changa, meaning firstborn. And I always say, and I've actually embraced my name very later on because I hated my name. It's Nomazibulo. It's a very long name. I mean, my second name is Theodora. So I went on by Theo for a very long time, up until God revealed to me that there is something behind your name. And that something means that everything of you is first. You are off first, and everything of you is first. So that means that's now firstborn. So I actually started embracing my name about 2 or 3 years ago. That's when I started to see some of the things unraveling in my life. Then I was
alignment happening.
Yes, alignment happening. So my name is Nomazibulo Changa. I am a mom of 3 kids. I've got 2 boys and 1 daughter. I am an entrepreneur, a founder and CEO of a company. Behind me, Ziana Business Consulting and Training. And I am a humanitarian, so I do a lot of corporate social responsibility work with the Ziana Foundation. I am the founder of the Brunch with Noma, which is an annual women empowerment program. I am. I can be anything I want to be. It depends on the space I'm in my life. So for now, I've got these facets, but I believe as life goes and as time goes, God will unravel some parts of me that I need to bring out to the universe, because I believe that He's brought us for a calling. So that's about me. I've got a beautiful husband. I love traveling. Yes, I love traveling. I've worked in corporate for years in the HR space. So hence I've opened an HR company. What else do I do? I'm in the process of starting a conversation platform, which is called, which is going to be a podcast, Leaders in Conversation. Yes, I'm going to get like your C-suite leaders to come in and share with us how they've climbed the corporate ladder and what are the challenges that they had to face, and what are the things that we need to look out for, what's the journey like, and how do we then navigate it to make it to where they are. So I'm excited.
And once you get there, how do you know you are there?
Yes, so I'm quite excited about that space. I'm taking my time to release whatever I need to release, because I need to make sure that it's really talking to the audience, and I'm bringing quality and quality that's engaging and informative to my audience. So people should watch out for that very soon. So that's in a nutshell. But I mean, I can be anything that God wants me to be.
Anytime, definitely. No, we love that. Okay, that's great. I think Nompilo, not my Nompilo. Nompilo, I don't know. Nompilo is our other guest, so we had given her some time to sort out, because her camera was giving her some issues. But if there's anything from the audience, please feel free to ask any questions or share on the topics that we are on. I think, can you see me now? Okay. No, but we're still not able to see camera. Okay. Anyway, hi. I think our other guest is Charity Lindokuhle Zulu. I think she was a bit late as well, my friend, so don't feel bad. Charity, are you there?
Hi, Thembi. I can see you here. Yeah, I had quite a dramatic afternoon, quite an emotionally taxing one. But yes, finally I made it. Thank you so much.
Okay. No, welcome. I appreciate and respect that the time that you made. I know you had quite an eventful afternoon, rather, but you are here now. We appreciate that. On the program, we are actually in the middle discussing the first point of our discussion, being just unpacking about welcoming failures through the door of lessons. Okay. So one of our guests had already started with that conversation, but she's busy sorting out her camera. I'm not sure what's happening. So I think we will take this opportunity and just welcome you and allow you the space and a bit of time to introduce yourself properly. I don't want to go through the bio. You know how to sum it up, in the interest of time, that we can still have a bit of time to talk. But on my end, I mean, Charity is my friend. We were in high school together, and it just gives me such a great honor for her to join us this evening. We grew up together, seeing each other grow, and of course, we went our separate ways a bit. Because we grow apart and we discover ourselves, and I'm so excited that we are in this platform and we seem to have the same vision, the same goal, and it's for that reason that I invited her to share tonight with us and the audience. She's in ministry with her husband, whom we've known each other, like I said, since high school. I want to allow you the opportunity to introduce yourself to the audience, and we'll take it from there.
Thank you very much, my friend, for the opportunity. My name is Charity Ngobe, and like my friend Thembi has stated, I'm a health professional by profession, and I'm also an aspiring motivational talker at a global stage level. And I take a lot of my time empowering women in social and spiritual talks, because I believe that women, if they are empowered, they can move mountains. So I actually love engaging in such conversations whereby we can empower each other, because I do believe there is more potential in women than in anything else. So basically, yes, in my professional time, I am a senior manager at work, and I head specialized units, your critical cares and high cares. And then in my part-time, yes, I'm a motivational speaker, and I'm a pastor that has founded or co-founded a ministry with my husband. And I'm a mom of 3 beautiful children. Thank you. I think that sums up my intro.
Great. Thank you so much, Charity, for that. I just want to check, Nompilo, are you back with us? Okay. I think I'm going to ask Noma. I'm going to ask that you maybe share with us. We continue with the program, and whenever Nompilo is ready, maybe she can join us again. So, Noma, if you can share with us, what has worked, friend. You've led people in organizations, and it could be strategies that worked for you. It could be a book. It could be things that you saw amongst women while you leading in the corporate spaces that you have led, seen certain things that you saw that were failing us as women, and maybe we can improve in terms of welcoming failure through the door of lessons.
Yes, thank you for that. I love what we're talking about, because we're talking about failure through the door of lessons, which is, I think it's a beautiful thing. And yes, I've experienced myself some of the failures, whether it was on my personal life or it was in corporate. And, it's one of the painful things. But over the years, with experience and with learnings, I've learned that failure is actually not a bad thing. And I'm going to try to unpack that. So I often talk about the threshold of pain when I do speak, or when I do get an opportunity to do so. And when I talk about the threshold of pain, I'm talking about there's in my mind, I've through reading and research, I've actually identified that pain, whatever that percentage of pain is equal to success. Okay, so it means that for me, 100% of pain is equal to 100% of success. So if you do not welcome pain, and you don't embrace pain, and you don't anticipate pain, then it becomes a problem, because pain is like change. So it's inevitable, and it will come whether you invite it or not, whether you like it or not. Pain will come, because we are wired in a society where, God did not promise us all these things in glorious ways and joyful ways. God said that you will be experiencing hardships, so that you are able to learn from those hardships. So
yes.
that's what then shifted, my mind in terms of saying,
Right.
actually, pain is not really all bad, but it depends on how you look at it. So when I talk about the threshold of pain, and talk about failure, which is now at this point in this context is equivalent to pain, I often say that whatever you embrace in pain or failure is going to be equal to your success. So if you then embrace 50% of pain and failure, you are going to reward 50% of your success. If you embrace 80% of pain and failure, you are going to reward 80% of success. Okay, so it means that you need to know where your threshold of failure or pain is, so that you may have an understanding and an appreciation of the reward that you will reap at the end of that pain, which is your result. Okay, so what I've experienced, there's a lot of pain that I've experienced in my life.
Sure.
I've lost babies, meaning I've had miscarriages, I've had stillborns, I've lost jobs, I've lost friends, I've lost bosses. So there's a lot of loss. I've lost even a parent. I don't have a father as I'm speaking to you now. But, people sometimes look at me when I tell the story of how I lost my father as an example. And I said to them, when my father passed away in 2009, I was 2 years working, and I had just bought a car, and I had gone to the rural areas. He stayed in the rural areas, and I stayed in the location with my mom. And I had gone to the rural areas to sort of show him the car. He was excited, etc. And he was a person that advocated for greatness, love, prosperity, etc., and growth. But when I lost him, and I share this story a lot, that I actually never cried. And people ask, why didn't you cry? Because it is painful to lose a parent. At the time, I didn't have the knowledge and the experience and the wisdom that I have today, where I'm able to illustrate and explain why I didn't cry. So I didn't know why I didn't cry. But later on, in retrospect, I know now why I didn't cry. Actually, I didn't cry from the day my dad passed on until today. I've never cried. I've never cried for my dad. And I'm the firstborn at home, so I'm very close to my dad. Because you know how it is with the traditional men, where, when they give birth to the firstborn, ideally they want a boy. And when they don't have a boy, then they advocate all the boy tendencies to the girl.
Oh, yes.
So that's what happened to me. So he advocated all the boy tendencies to me. So I was very close to him, but I didn't cry. So in retrospect, when I think and dig deep, why? Because it used to bother me a lot. But Noma, why did you cry when your dad passed on? It was painful. You'll never see him again. But then I remembered that with my dad, he taught me, we had conversations that could last me a lifetime.
Shame.
And in that meaning, when he passed on, the only thing I thought of was, in my memory, was all the conversations we had. So I never got time to cry. I never got time to be in the pain. But immediately, when I heard that my dad passed on, I immediately thought of the conversations that we had. So it then tells us how important conversations are. Conversations
Yes.
are important to our children. Conversations are important in the workplace, etc.
Oh, yes.
But like I said, I didn't know. I had to like really do an introspection and to really interrogate why I didn't cry when my dad passed on. So I'm trying to say maybe it was God's grace. I don't know. But today I can testify to say that one of the reasons that I didn't cry, it's because I embrace. So I had a sense of, this is what I had. I had a sense of, I know that we will all not live forever. We will all at some point pass on.
Yes.
So the question is, while you are given the opportunity to live, what are the things that you are doing to live? Are you living or are you pretending to be living?
Oh, wow. Wow. Wow.
So that was a wake-up call for me to say, I think my dad was lived actually. And when he lived, his wisdom, his generosity, his love, his conversations filled me for a lifetime. I mean,
Wow.
I'm even not having the conversations today that my dad had with me when he was alive. And I'm not having those conversations with my kids. And that's a point of lack from me.
Oh, yes.
And that's a point of improvement for me. Because I
Yes.
often think, what will my children think when God decides to take my life? So I always say, when we have an acknowledgement of pain, that pain is inevitable, pain exists, pain will find you whether you don't want it or not. But how do you then embrace the pain, and how do you then navigate your way through the pain, and how do you live with the pain, and sometimes how do you leverage on the pain?
Oh, sure. Leverage. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's a relationship for me. I've had with failure and I've had with pain, and sometimes I always say, because this is what this is my now second example.
Yeah.
When I left corporate, I left in a way that was brutal. I left in a way that I feel God removed me, and I was still screaming and crying and wanted to be in
You didn't
corporate.
see it at that time.
I didn't see it coming. But God said, I'm going to remove you. This is your time. You need to be out of corporate. And I didn't know what He had in store for me. But 6 years later, I'm running a successful company. And I look at it and you know, back then in 2016, when I left corporate, I thought I had failed. But today, God, you know, revealed to me that no, you didn't fail. It was a time for you to move on.
Oh, yes. Oh,
So
yes.
sometimes failure is not failing, but because society seems, so we've then created failure as this thing. So therefore, if you get divorced from your partner, it's a failure. If you
Yeah.
get retrenched from work, it's a failure. If you get dismissed from work, it's a failure. If your kids do drugs, it's a failure.
Oh, yes.
But it's actually not a failure. It's a
No, it's
process
not.
of life.
Oh, no, it's not. Of course it
It's a
is.
process of life. But then if you're given this as a, now I'm speaking as a Christian, if you give an opportunity to the devil to play against your failure, it will really feel like a failure. But if you say to me, you know, my child is doing drugs, I've tried to put in everything that I can, I've done everything, now I'm giving it to you, and see things unfold, then you won't feel like you have failed. Sometimes I always say, it's not you that failed. I don't believe that human beings fail. I believe situations fail us.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Indeed. And I like what you're saying, because I can attest to the fact that it depends on how you look at it in terms of failure, but in my personal experience, I had always questioned why I'm not moving, why am I not progressing as I wish to? But I didn't realize that I was such a perfectionist in such a way that I wouldn't allow failure in any shape or form. I wouldn't want to to start something and then it fails. Even in the business that I'm running, I would have to see things through until the T before I take that next step. And that's where I was holding myself back, and I didn't realize that at that time until I just allowed and I embraced failure. And I'm dancing with failure every day. We hang out and we get along. And it's just liberated me so much. And that has directly impacted into my mental state, because with everything, I embrace failure. We dance. It happened today, it didn't happen. Tomorrow we try again. And somehow that just thrown me into a lot of opportunities, because I've allowed myself to be vulnerable enough in front of whether it's a fail or whether it's gonna work. So that has come with so much opportunities, which I appreciate, and somehow just accelerated my growth as well. So that's what I want to share with the people today, the audience, that of course failure is there, but change the narrative, change it for yourself, that it's not a death sentence. If a child comes and they didn't do well in a test, or they didn't do well somewhere, have a nice a relationship with your kids or your partner, even, where they know that you've got their back, and they know whatever they're working towards something for themselves, so that it's not about, I'm doing this for mommy, or if I fail, mommy is gonna release yourself off of that. So I feel that just knowing that and owning it and allowing yourself to be in that space and sit in that failure when it happens. And I think we run away from our own feelings sometimes. You are too scared to feel the pain. You are too scared to feel the disappointment. Even before the next person hears about it, you've already, punished yourself so much. So it's you. Sit in the sadness. Own the sadness. Move on. Shake it off and take the next step. But I don't want to hold this conversation amongst ourselves, Norma. I'm not sure who's on the line. I saw that Charity, we lost her a bit with the load shedding happening. So I'm not sure. Charity, are you here?
Yes, I'm back.
Okay, great. We were just talking, Charity, in terms of welcoming failure through the door of lessons, but with the holistic view, really, in how it affects us mentally, how it affects us, our family, and all of that. And it's important. I'm excited that you are here, because you can share from a clinical and from a Christianity perspective on maybe strategies that work, or in your experience, maybe just share with us and the audience.
Hi, good evening, everybody. The network and everything might be a bit of an obstacle, but let me try and share, Thembi. I think from a personal point of view, and from my belief system and my profession, I'll start maybe with the narrative of my profession. Mental health is high on the list these days, because, and I think it's something that we took for granted yesterday, but today it is a reality. I work in a healthcare environment whereby I see 15-year-olds, 18-year-olds, 25-year-olds committing or attempting to commit suicide on a daily basis. And this is not, I'm not exaggerating, but on a daily basis, there is about 3 incidences of human beings trying to commit suicide. And the funny thing, or the painful thing with this whole thing, is that it's not the older generation, it is our generation and younger. I think it's the less than 30s that are committing suicide. And if you look at the rates, I think your teens and your young people are there. And I think a lot of it there's a lot of socialization, I think, that plays a factor, how we are raised and what we've gone through the past 2 years. And I don't want to undermine the stress, the trauma of COVID. I think if we can really dig deep into COVID, there's a lot of things that happened during COVID season. I think for healthcare workers, it was a season that we do not want to remember. We do not want to relive because of the trauma that we saw in hospitals. And I think at the community at large, we had families that lost their loved ones. People lost their parents. They lost their children. They lost their I think there's the support system of individuals was severely destabilized.
Yes.
Because of all the losses. And because subsequent to the destabilization of the support system, I think this is where we are with mental illnesses and conditions, because people, I think the human brain is designed that whenever you are in severe or experiencing severe pain, your mind escapes. And when that mind escapes, this is where you start seeing this psychiatric conditions manifesting, your depressions, your psychiatric disorders. People, they just become manic. So I think it's there. It's a reality of today. I was asking one of my bosses at work, we were having a conversation, and I said I fear for the generation that is to come, meaning our grandchildren, because a lot of the mothers, the fathers would at that time be people that are dealing with mental illnesses, severe mental disorders.
I see.
It's a reality. So, but from a spiritual point of view, and I said this previously when we had our pajama gathering with the women there, that man is not made just physically. There's the spiritual man, and that spiritual man, I think if he is fed enough, if you've got something to hold on to, if you've got faith, that spirit man can survive. And I promise you, Thembi, you could be experiencing emotional trauma, physical trauma, whatever trauma. But if you're a spirit man, if you've got this belief in God, that keeps your sanity. You've got something to hold on to. Your faith keeps you going, because every day when you are having those thoughts of depression, you start affirming, but you know what, I am a child of God, because there's this extra voices that speaks to us in our quiet times that tells us how unworthy we are. It tells us about our failures. It tells us just how we are not going to succeed. But on a continuous basis, you need to affirm that, you know what, regardless of all these things that I'm going through, but at the end of the day, God is my source of being. And I think most of the time from my side personally, that keeps me going. I could be having the hardest day, but whenever I go through the Bible, I go through scriptures, and those promises in scriptures, they keep me sane, they keep me going. And that's actually how I pour out from my jar to other people, because of my faith in God.
You have a place to call and go to. I like
that's basically breaking it down and summing it up. That's just my contribution to the topic. And sometimes, failure. The funny thing about failure, when we talk about failure, sometimes we need to fail long and hard enough for the ministry that God-given ministry to manifest from us. I think I'll make an example. If you are if through the loss of your husband as a widow, sometimes because your systems, your coping mechanisms, they fail to a point that during your time of loss, you get to establish a relationship with God. So it's not all in vain that when we fail, it's all gloomy and we are doomed. We are not doomed. Sometimes it is a place that we need to get to for God to be able to manifest the greater plan that He has with our lives. So I've seen in my weakest moments, in my moments where I failed severely, that's where God found me, and that's where I found my voice. That's where I found my contribution to humankind.
Oh yes, oh yes. No,
My network is not stable. I might disappear.
No, sure. Thank you so much. But you've been quite clear. We heard you loud and clear. And I think we can all attest to how we are just reshaped and reformed through hardships. That just how God shows up in our favor, and we come out of situations stronger. And I think also just contributing to the conversation in terms of failure and mental health is that sometimes we have to look at our contribution in how we show up for ourselves. Okay. In a sense that sometimes we might be developing patterns that are not in favor for what we're trying to achieve, right? So you might find yourself, maybe as a coping mechanism, you develop a certain pattern that doesn't help your positioning or doesn't help you in terms of where you're trying to get to. So often you just, it could be a trigger, it could be call it an anxiety that you struggle with. Those kind of things you need to be aware of. You need to be aware of your triggers. You need to be aware of your anxieties. As a matter of fact, you need to call them out by names so that you take charge and control of the situation, because we create patterns, right? We create patterns that we are unaware that they are self-sabotaging patterns, and that happens where often you're just not showing up for yourself better, and opportunities miss you, and people start not taking you seriously because there's just in some way or the other that you are not showing well for yourself. Meanwhile, if you are fully aware of your mental state, you are in harmony with your mental state, you have communicated, you have identified and communicated your anxieties or your triggers to yourself and named them accordingly, you are able then to, because you are aware of them, then you are able to show up a little bit better for yourself next time around. So I just thought I should share that because it builds, it's in the character building, as we are in a journey trying to grow ourselves and becoming woman and becoming her. It's these kinds of things that we need to be aware of. I'm not sure how much time we still have. I'm not sure if Nompilo, are you on the line? Can we get your input, please?
Yes, thank you so much. I've benefited a lot from this conversation. When Unomazibulo was speaking about the loss, I also thought that I've actually been through that moment of loss. I've lost both my parents, and I lost a child as well. And, it's amazing how a society sometimes, when something that bad happens, they'll come back and say, because we had just moved into a new house with my husband, they came and asked us, did you even bless the house? So sometimes as women ourselves, we pull her down. We try and say, it was you must look at yourself. Maybe it's you
should
who
have
called
done
this thing upon yourself. You should have done this and you should have done that. So yes, so those things, and sometimes they build you up because of the relationship. I'm now just adding to what Charity was saying, that
Yeah.
sometimes it's your God-given ministry that will manifest in us. Because
Oh,
after
yes.
we actually lost the child, then my husband started writing books. Now he's an author of 12 books, because he
Wow.
started writing about our son Ngaba. When we lost Ngaba, he wrote his
Oh,
first book,
yes.
Ngaba, Grief and Hope. So now we are a
Mm.
couple that is now healing because of what
Through
happened
that.
in our lives.
Yes.
Something bad happened, but God turned it for our good.
Mm. Mm.
So even when we do events, we launch the books. Like we had a successful event this last weekend. People are like so amazed at us, but our pain has been turned into a purpose.
Yes.
You know, God
Definitely.
didn't just let us go and be on depression, but God turned it for our good. He really
Yes.
turned our pain into purpose. So it's amazing what God can do on the journey, and He opens doors that you would have not thought of.
No, definitely, definitely. I find that it is through pain, tragedies, and failures that our biggest purpose then
Okay.
shows up, you know, and
So sometimes
it's
people see you and
hey, Nompilo, we lost you. Yes, Nompilo, you were saying?
definitely.
Yeah, we lost you there a bit, Nompilo, but yeah, definitely. You know, it's funny. Sometimes people
Oh,
might look.
I can hear. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Now I can
Yes,
hear
I
you.
was saying
Yes.
sometimes when you're going through, when you now on your mountain top.
Yes. Hi, Nompilo. Okay. No, I think points are clear, and we managed to hear at least on what the ladies had to share. Um, it's also important to recognize that things might look glossy and shiny from the outside, but and it would be very easy for people to, you know, to feel that you had it easy, you know, but the reality is that we go through the storms, and it depends on how you use your pain, your tragedy, and how you rewrite the narrative for yourself. And amongst the ladies here, what I'm taking is that they've just turned their pain into a purpose, purposes that are touching people and contributing meaningfully to the livelihood of others. So I don't want to take that for granted, and I just want to I just want to thank everyone that joined us. I see that we are left with just 2 minutes before our session ends. So I don't know if there's anyone that wants to ask any questions. Have you got anything that you want to add on to the conversation before our time is up?
I see I'm on.
Yes, I was just saying here that if we are almost done, our session is almost ending.
Okay.
So if there's anything that you want to add on to the conversation, just to wrap it up, it could be, just about the things that we are discussing. We are welcome to do so.
Yeah. So thank you so much to Charity and Nompilo. I think they've shared similar stories. But I think these platforms, Thembi, they open up our minds to think, we are not alone. Because when I lost my Ziana, and now
Yes.
hearing Nompilo losing her child, and how that was then turned into a purpose where people are intrigued by the story and they want to hear it, because God uses us at those moments. So when I'm alone, sitting in my corner, thinking I've lost my child, etc., I do not feel that, because I don't know, I don't have access to Nobilo and other stories. So it's good that we tell these stories and benefit from it. And then another thing that I would like to talk about is the space and time, and acknowledging who gives us these things. A friend of mine actually reminded me one day, I was talking, about whatever it is we were talking about, and I was in a rush. My life is rushed. And then she asked me a very pertinent question and asked, Norma, who gives us this time? We always say we are late for this, late for that. I'm never in time. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. But, that question for me resonated a lot with me, to say, but with this chasing that women are doing and we are doing, who gives us the time to chase? But I mean, it could be that I can sleep today, tomorrow I'm not here. So it's an appreciation of the space and time and what God has bestowed on us and the grace that He has upon our lives around these issues. So I think that's the one. And then I think there was also like the one question about no one is left behind that you had we had not gotten into, but I'm just going to summarize just what my thoughts are. So on that, like I believe that, and that's what Charity touched on. I believe that before we can even talk about leaving people behind, I think God's mandate for our life is God wants us to carry us first.
Sure.
Before we can carry the nation. That notion of Mbokoto, I don't subscribe to it.
No.
Because I believe I'm soft, I can break, I can cry. Tomorrow I can be strong, today I can be weak, etc. So I cannot be known as a strong thing all the time. It's impossible for me to be that. So
definitely.
I don't subscribe. So before we can even ask the question on no one is left behind, can we please make sure that we don't leave ourselves behind? So I'm in this zone now, or in this period where I'm questioning a lot of things that are happening in my life. And God keeps whispering to me, and this is the word. And I hope if you don't take anything out of my conversation, at least if you can take this phrase that I'm about to say, that God keeps whispering to me and saying to me, come back home to yourself. I think you've heard me speaking about this, I think 2 times or something. It's a thing that's been in my mind for the past month. God keeps on saying, yes, come back home to yourself. So, in its entirety, or in the context of everything, God is saying, fill your cup, take care of of yourself first, carry yourself first, then let me show you how people can then benefit from the overflow that I have deposited in you.
The best version of yourself.
Yeah. So the question of who's left behind, I don't think we should be asking that question, but I mean, it could be different. But my question is, are you leaving yourself behind in the pack? Because my thing is, carry yourself first and then see how you then overflow to the others.
Okay. No, great. I appreciate that so much, because I also, just thinking about it, that thing of not leaving myself behind, and that it was a big question mark of saying, where are you in all of this? Because I think you and I have had a conversation, and I said to you that I feel I'm at so much peace. And that comes from the fact that I came to realize that being a mom is not some entity, standalone entity somewhere. I have a home, and my children's home is my home too. And this is where I'm able to be vulnerable, to cry and be pretty and be accepted the way that I am, without having to have this facade of having it all figured out, having it all put together. So that actually opened my eyes to exactly what you are saying now, that where are you in all of this? So we need to pour into ourselves, more, and make sure that we have enough then to give to others, be it our children, our husbands, our families, our friends, and everyone else, and I think that brings us to the closing, really, more than anything. And I just wish to thank you so much, my friend, for being here. Thank you, Charity. I think she left, she had load shedding. And thank you so much, Nompilo. Nompilo is just sent me a text saying thank you so much. She's benefited a lot from the conversations we've had. And we hope to see everyone on our next one that is coming, which we will announce as and when that time comes. So thank you so much for taking up your time and sharing the space and this time with us. I just wish to wish you good night. And that's all from me.